Welcome back to the Performance Prescription Lab podcast, everyone. We're excited to have you with us for this season's final episode. Today, it's all about you, the athletes, the weekend warriors, the fitness enthusiasts who constantly push the boundaries to improve your performance.
That's right. Over the years, athletes of all levels have asked us countless questions, from professionals to beginners. So today, we are tackling the most frequently asked questions we get, diving into everything from supplements and nutrition to injury prevention, recovery, and overall health tips.
But before we dive into the burning questions, let's start with some athletic news highlights to wrap up the season in style. The first thing that I want to highlight is news in the wearable technology field. So, Aura Ring, which is a super popular health tracking device, especially in women's health, has just announced a ground-breaking partnership with Dexcom. So, Dexcom is a continuous glucose monitoring company. So, together, they're combining their technology to give athletes deeper insight into their health, like tracking blood sugar alongside sleep and recovery. I think this is totally going to change the game on how we optimize performance and give us so much feedback. So I'm excited to see where this takes us.
Yeah, this is amazing news. I think the technology is fastly changing, and these developments are really good because they are contextualizing these
Yes.
technological advancements in the context of athletes. So I'm really looking forward to see these pathfinder athletes who are benefiting from these technological advancements.
Yeah.
The next one in the world of sports news is one of the most talked about stories right now is Yannick Sinner's dominant performance at the recent ATP finals. The 20-year-old athlete didn't just win against Taylor Fritz, he swept him in straight sets, securing his spot as a rising tennis star to watch. And with Nadal's retirement at the Davis Cup recently, the future of men's professional tennis is nothing but promising. But the spotlight isn't just on victories from tennis players. There is also growing chatter around doping in tennis, especially after Yannick Sinner tested positive 2 times. Sinner has appealed to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, and we are expecting a final ruling in early 2025. We are going to keep an eye on this, and we'll keep you updated in our next season to come.
Yeah, it's definitely something interesting to watch and see how this plays out about his two cases. So, if we're speaking on athletic excellence and just the amazing performances we've seen this year, we need to talk about the World Athletic Awards finalists for 2024. These athletes are redefining what's possible in sport, from track stars shattering records to endurance runners showing superhuman feats of stamina. The finalists are true testaments to grit and dedication. The winner will be announced soon, but I can't wait to see who takes home this coveted title this year. Nilham, who's your favorite to win?
I would answer as Mondo Duplantis, but I would like to say Jakob Ingebrigtsen, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. He's a
You
Norwegian
should win
athlete.
for the pronunciation.
Yes, I tried. I studied before recording the episode. Jakob became Olympic 5,000 meters champion in Paris, and he followed that with a world record performance over 3,000 meters at Wanda Diamond League. This was in Silesia, and he did 3,000 meters at 7 minutes 17 seconds. It's just amazing. It's an
That's
amazing
insane.
performance, and why he's in my radar at the moment is I may have a chance to get to know him next week because there is the World European Championship of cross country in Antalya again in Turkey, and I'll be working there as a sports pharmacist, and he's one of the athletes who will be competing at the European Championship. So I'm just very excited to see
Ooh.
one Olympic champion, and hopefully he also receives the reward of being such a successful athlete in the World Athletics Awards. What
Yeah,
about you guys?
I'm going to go on the women's side and pick my two favorites are either Sydney McLaughlin or Julian Alfred, who was the runner from St. Lucia who won the first 100-meter um, gold. Actually, I think it's the first gold medal ever for St. Lucia in
Yeah.
any world championship or Olympics or anything, which is super cool. I just think that's once in a lifetime that you get to be able to do that. One of my favorites that actually wasn't there, and I'll just throw it out, is I'm a huge Gabby Thomas fan. She has an
Mhm.
amazing background in public health and epidemiology from Harvard. She volunteers at local health clinics. And my favorite is she always has a smile on her face. So I wish she was in the running, but she wasn't one listed. So I'm going to go with the women for this one.
We are gonna award the Performance Prescription Lab Athlete Award to Gabby Thomas for you.
Yes. We will send
Of
it over to her.
Yeah. Well, all the athletes are just amazing, but there was also one athlete that caught my heart. I want to share an incredible story of perseverance and heart. Have you heard about these triathletes with terminal cancer who competed in the World Ironman Championship in Hawaii? That's the
Yeah.
toughest race. It's the World Championship, and just finishing that, being qualified for that, is beyond inspiring.
Yes.
Despite facing unimaginable challenges, he swam 2.4 miles, biked 112 miles, and ran a full marathon. It's just a story that is proof that the human spirit knows no limits. He was very friendly. I texted him on Instagram to check, how do you manage the health condition? Because it's just very stressful to the body already.
Yeah.
Cancer versus a full Ironman. And all the triathletes I know, like him, is very well planned and always on track, always in consultation with his physician and healthcare providers. So I was just a full marathon on the background, just preparing for the race. So it's very inspiring.
I thought that was his story was super powerful, and I did have a lot of those questions of like, how did he train, how do you balance it all, just the but still just the fact that his spirit definitely, I'm sure chemo and radiation and cancer treatment requires so much grit and determination, so maybe running and swimming was an outlet, but that's definitely an powerful story. And it kind of reminds us what we do, why we do. We love helping the athletes achieve their best, no matter the odds, no matter what they face. So obviously, he had a team of healthcare providers helping him manage everything as he trains. So just again, throwing in why we love what we do. With those highlights in mind, we're going to switch gears and dive into the facts and or the question and answer period. We've created a list based on the questions that you ask us daily. Whether you're curious about supplements, training strategies, or optimizing recovery, we've got answers. So grab a pen and paper because these tips and insights are going to be game changers.
Yes, I'm ready to start with one of the most common questions. I think we both get this. And the question is, should I take magnesium? If so, which type is best for me? I think the social media is all over about magnesium types, but this is in the context of athletes. So, what's your answer,
Yeah.
Jess?
Yeah, that's such a great question because magnesium is one of the most underrated minerals when it comes to athletic performance and recovery. First off, yes, most athletes could benefit from magnesium, but it's not a one size fits all situation. So, magnesium plays a key role in muscle contraction, energy performance, and even managing stress. So, if you're training hard, which you probably are, you're burning through your magnesium stores faster than the average person, not to mention high stress. So even outside of training, life, work, all the other things, your body eats up magnesium with stress. So definitely something you want to consider. But here's where I think it gets tricky and I get a lot of questions. There are so many different types of magnesium supplements out there, and they all do slightly different things. So I'm going to break them down for you as some of the most common ones I see and kind of recommendations. So the first one is magnesium glycinate. And this is your go to for like sleep and relaxation. It's well tolerated by most people, and it's great for reducing muscle tension and calming your nervous system. The second one is going to be magnesium citrate. So this one is really good if you're struggling with digestion or occasional constipation. This is the one you pick. But keep it in mind, it does, as you can tell, probably has a laxative effect. So be cautious and don't take too much. The third magnesium I would go to that I get questions about is magnesium malate. And magnesium malate is perfect for energy production and muscle function. So if you're fatigued or dealing with muscle soreness, this is a great option. We have magnesium threonate. This one is more kind of like a brain booster. So if you're focused on cognitive performance, memory, or managing mental fatigue, this one is probably more for you. Last one I don't want to forget is magnesium chloride, or the common Epsom salts. So we've seen athletes, everyone's talked about, go take an Epsom salt bath. And that's because your body's able to absorb the magnesium in the hot water. So these are great, obviously if you're looking to recover after an intense workout. You can absorb the magnesium through your skin, which better helps your muscles relax and helps with reducing inflammation. So the question is, which one should I take? Well, each of these forms gives you elemental magnesium, but it's the molecule that it's attached to that helps the magnesium get to different spots in the body. So you could take just one. And then I know there's a couple products out there that may make a combination of 2 or 3 different types. So the bottom line is magnesium is a powerhouse mineral for athletes. Most athletes do need it, but you need to choose the type that is specific for your needs. Nilham, is there anything else you want to add to the magnesium question that we get?
Yeah, it is essential to look at product's label to see which form you are getting. Like you said, there are combination forms, etc. So it's good to be an informed user. And I can say my least favorite is magnesium oxide, which is not absorbed well. And it is usually the most common ingredient on the shelf because it's cheap. And because it's not absorbed well, it may also cause diarrhea.
Yeah.
So we recommend athletes not to pick magnesium oxide as a
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah, I think like you said, reading the back of the label and looking on that to make sure what form you're getting is really, really helpful, because you may think you're getting one when you're really getting something else. So reading the labels. So we're going to kind of jump into our next big question that we get asked all the time. What are the top supplements you recommend for athletes? And I think this one, I'll just start off with mine. This is a tough one because every athlete is different, but there are a few supplements that constantly stand out for their evidence-backed benefits. So Neilham, do you want to kind of explain to the listeners kind of what are our favorite recommended or most commonly recommended supplements?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's not one size fits all. We have to be very personalized in our recommendation. But there are these top supplements that may be useful in all athletes or even healthy individuals. And usually, you don't also need to track the levels, the biomarkers, unless there is a specific health condition. So it's good to supplement with these to stay healthy and stay on top of your performance. So I would also add magnesium. So I'm going to recommend 4, but we already spoke about magnesium. But if I can say one thing about magnesium, my favorite is magnesium malate, because I think it's more suitable for muscle function. I'm gonna go back to number 1, and I'll start with creatine monohydrate. It's a classic for a reason. It's one of the most well-researched supplement out there. There are tons of studies. It's proven to help with strength, power output, and muscle recovery. It works by replenishing your ATP. It's the energy and that your muscles use during short bursts of high intensity activity. And because of that, usually there is this myth that it's just for bodybuilders, but it's not, because there are some supporting research about creatine that it benefits endurance athletes too. It aids recovery. It also improves brain function. It's commonly used in elderly population as well. So for endurance athletes, it's useful. for focusing during competitions, but also supporting the high intensity aspects of the endurance sports. And it's usually super affordable and easy to find. But we're going to speak about one question that we usually get about being choosing safe supplements.
Yeah.
If it's affordable, it has to be safe. So we're going to come there. One of our early episodes was everything about creatine, so it was episode 2. If you would like to be an informed creatine user, just go back to the episode. We speak about all the aspects there. My next most recommended favorite supplement is omega-3 fatty acids, fish oil. Omega 3s are critical for reducing inflammation, supporting joint health, and even improving heart and brain functions. If you are a hard worker athlete, your body's inflammatory response can go into overdrive, and omega 3s help keep that in check. Omega 3s are reducing the perception of pain and even support increased training volume and support adaptations to exercise training. So there is emerging studies around the benefits of omega 3s in athletic health. Also, there are further studies about omega 3s in muscle recovery, even that it improves reaction times. So these are huge wins
Yeah.
for athletes in high demand sports. Aim for a high quality fish oil with a good balance of EPA and DHA. I like looking for an omega 3 with at least 4 to 1 ratio of EPA to DHA if looking for an anti inflammatory effect. And about the recommended dose, the study says it's less than 3 grams, and even elite athletes may go up to 6 to 8 grams a day. I know there are some discussions around the high dose omega 3, and it might cause negative implications on bleeding. Unless you have a specific condition, the studies suggest that there is no such risk. So always keep your healthcare
Yeah.
professional in touch if you choose to go on a high dose omega 3, but we can say that it's relatively safe because
Yeah.
the studies say so.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's available worldwide, but I know that in the US, we can at least, there's tests now that you can do to determine your omega 3 levels or your balance. And they're really fairly easy to do. The one that I've used is a finger prick test that you mail off and it comes back. And so you're able to test where you are before and see if you need to add additional supplements. And then it's really super easy to retest to make sure that your diet and your supplements are helping you improve. Are you doing enough? Are you not? Are you doing too much? So I think being able to test omega 3s is really interesting. I think it's a newer test coming out. But yeah, so I just wanted to throw that in there. I'll let you get back to your fourth supplement, Neilha.
Thanks, Jess. And it's quite exciting to hear that you can test that. I was just reading a paper about that, so it's a thing, and I'm sure it's useful.
Yeah.
The next level, the next supplement is also another supplement that it's usually recommended to get your blood tested to see the levels, so the appropriate dose can be given. So this is vitamin D, and it's my last one. It's the sunshine vitamin, and it's essential for bone health. It's essential for immune function, protein synthesis, and muscle performance. It's often overlooked, but a deficiency can lead to weaker bones, increased injuries, even slower recovery. And unless you're getting a lot of sunshine year round, chances are you're not getting enough. Other factors, the further from the equator, if you play in an indoor sport or work inside, use a sunscreen. If you're a winter sports athlete or for darker skin colors, this also has negative implications on the vitamin D absorption. A simple blood test can check your levels, and supplementing as needed can make a massive difference in how you feel and perform. It is recommended to keep your vitamin D levels above 50 nanograms per milliliter as an athlete.
Yeah. I would say even in the sunshine, I'll talk to any we both live in island sunny weather.
Yeah,
Um, I know I personally have to supplement with vitamin D consistently, even though I'm out with the dog. Doing some genetic testing found that I'm just like a poor converter of the
yeah.
sunshine to active vitamin D. So definitely, even if you live outside, still something you want to get tested.
Yes, absolutely. I'm the same, and my vitamin D levels goes down. It's related to how your body metabolizes and
Yep,
activates vitamin D. So sunshine is essential, but it's usually good to have vitamin D supplementation, especially if you're in the winter months.
for sure.
These three supplements are foundational, but please remember they are supplements. They are to support your diet and training gaps. It's not to replace good nutrition, sleep, and recovery habits. You have to tick these off before you go into the supplements. This leads us to our next most common question. How do I know if a supplement is safe and free of banned substances? The question is not asked in this way. It's asked in a different way where
Yeah.
but we are just making it in a
Yeah.
structured question. But supplements are a huge market and we want our athletes to be safe users. So how
Yeah.
do you answer this question, Jess?
Yeah, I would say the question I get most is like, can I take this supplement? I saw it on the internet. Should I take this? I was recommended it by so and so and he bought it at so and so. So I think the question comes in, like you said, in a very different way, but basically they're asking, is it safe? Should they take it? And I think this is an incredibly critical question, especially for athletes competing at any level. The supplement industry is not tightly regulated, especially like as compared to like prescription medications. So it's up to you to be extra cautious. And a single contaminated supplement could lead to a failed drug test or worse, harm your health. So the first thing I always recommend from my athletes is making sure they look for third-party certifications. So these are going to be seals that are on the label, and the ones you want to look for are organizations like NSF, Certified for Sport, Informed Sport, or BSCG, which stands for Banned Substance Control Group. And basically, these groups certify that the supplements or verify the supplements are free of banned substances or contaminants. And like I said, their logos on the front are a great starting point to ensure the safety. And these certificates don't just focus on banned substance, they also confirm what is on the label matches exactly what's in the product, and there's no surprises or no shortcuts. So sometimes you will find products that the label says 100 milligrams of X, but when you actually do a potency test, it may only be 50 milligrams, so they don't match up. So these groups are also verifying that what is on the label matches what is in the product. Another important step is to check the ingredient list carefully. If you see vague terms like proprietary blend, be cautious. While not all proprietary blends are bad, they can hide the exact amount of the active ingredient, which makes it harder to assess safety and effectiveness. So definitely proprietary blends. Some of them are great. They use them for the manufacturer to keep how they make it proprietary or confidential, but it makes it really hard as a pharmacist to know if you're getting enough of the ingredients that are in it. There's also categories to be worried about. So the higher risk categories that we seem to find supplements more likely to contain banned substances are pre-workouts, weight loss supplements, and testosterone boosters. These are more likely to be contaminated with banned substances. But remember that every safe supplement can pose a risk. The last thing I want to add is don't forget there's resources like Global DRO, which is the drug reference online, or USADA's Supplement Connect database, which are great resources for looking up if a supplement may contain or if a ingredient is a banned substance. Neilham, do you want to add anything to it?
Yes, I can add another red flag from supplements, and it's the supplements that are giving big promises or giving huge claims. If
Oh.
it's the product claims, it can shred fat overnight, it can boost your testosterone by 300%. It's just for you to stay away. Those are almost always gimmicks and sometimes illegal, health to your risk as well. Only buy supplements from reputable companies with a track record of transparency and quality control. these are on their website. You can just go for them or simply consult your pharmacist, because we are on top of the supplements game. You can avoid sketchy online marketplaces, and also these marketplace sell counterfeit or contaminated products. And the last tip I want to give is really to involve your healthcare team and make sure your healthcare team, your healthcare advisors knows what you're taking, especially when you are seeing other healthcare providers, because supplements are just as important to know as medications. They even have side effects that may hinder your health or performance. One of the favorite ways to start a conversation with an athlete is to ask about why do you need this supplement if you are talking about supplementation. And this opens a space up for discussion and possible interventions or ways to work with the athlete in other ways other than supplementation. And we can say that I think supplementations are just supplements, but there are healthcare considerations that we need to take. So we, with this mindset or just checklist we just shared, you can be an informed, safe supplement user. I can move to our next common question. It's one that doesn't get discussed enough in the world of sports, but choosing the right birth control. It's not just about contraception, but it can also have a big impact on performance, recovery, and overall health of female athletes. So the question is, which is the right birth control option for me?
Great question. I do get, and now I'm probably jaded in the fact that I work with a lot of female athletes, especially high school and collegiate. But this is a great question and one I do get frequently. So I'm going to start with the basics that there are hormonal birth control options like the pill, patches, implants that can influence the hormone levels in ways that affect energy, recovery, and even how your body adapts to training. For example, some studies suggest that hormonal contraceptives may reduce recovery time from muscle damage and help with managing things like heavy period or irregular periods. On the flip side, some athletes report feeling more fatigued and less explosive during high intensity efforts when on certain types of hormonal birth control pills. So just to kind of add this, there are different within the hormonal birth control family, there are multiple or different types of hormonal birth control pills. But some studies have actually shown that oral birth control pills may reduce the risk of ACL tears and lower the risk for severity of concussions, which are both interesting. But I would not go as far as saying that these are the reasons that you should use a birth control pill. Definitely a very personal discussion to have with your healthcare team and just kind of yourself. But I think the menstrual cycle should be something that we talk about more. And it should be referred to as the fifth vital sign for women, because losing your period, a condition called amenorrhea, can be a warning sign of overtraining or underfueling. Having a natural menstrual cycle is critical for maintaining bone mineral density, heart health, and hormonal balance. Some research shows that athletes who have regular cycles may even see performance benefits, especially during certain phases of their cycle where their strength and endurance peak.
Jess, you said you work with a lot of female athletes. What options do you offer them? It's a very first, it's like a fingerprint, but what are the options that they should be
Yeah.
aware of so they can pick the right one for them in consultation with their sports pharmacist?
Yeah. So I think if you're looking at birth control options for females, you have two options. You have hormonal and non-hormonal options. So as I said, hormonal options include like oral birth control pills, which come as either multiphasic or monophasic, meaning your hormone levels that you're taking stay the same over the month, or they fluctuate to more mimic your natural cycle. You have patches, you have vaginal rings, you have shots, you have implants. But I think the one most of us are most familiar with are the hormonal pills, though I'm seeing a lot more a lot more athletes in younger populations choose implants. It's really interesting because there's a recent study that showed almost all the research, which is not a ton, but all the research on female athletes using birth control pill was solely done on monophasic birth control pills. So something to consider when you're looking at the research and you're trying to decide if you're looking and going, well, hormonal birth control pills decrease the risk of that. You need to make sure that it's the type of hormone that you're considering, because there's very limited research on some of the other forms of birth control pill. So then we have non-hormonal options, such as like the most common one is going to be a copper IUD. And these don't interfere with your natural hormone cycle, but they may lead to heavier periods, especially initially. So that's definitely something you want to consider if you're already dealing with like fatigue or iron deficiency. So I guess to end this, this is where individualization comes in. What works for one athlete might not work for another. Factors like your sport, training intensity, personal health goals, like the one I think of is like if I have a PCOS athlete, definitely I will choose a different birth control option than if I have a non-PCOS athlete. So I think the bottom line is there's no one size fits all answer. Whether you're managing your period symptoms, preventing pregnancy, or optimizing performance, it's critical to work with a healthcare provider or a sports pharmacist to understand the unique needs and demands as an athlete. Before I end, I want to kind of throw one more thing I thought about in is tracking your cycle. Whether you're on birth control or not, tracking your cycle can give you insight on how your body responds to training and how you're doing. So there's apps like Clue, you can use the Oura Ring, or an app like Fit Woman, are great tools that you can track your cycle and see if they're getting shorter or longer or lighter, and you can kind of see how that is impacting on where you are in a training cycle and your intensity. So Nilham, I hope that answered the question. And I'm going to move to our next question, which this one is one that I think both of us have gotten a lot more frequently recently,
Yeah.
due to the popularity and the access. But the question is, are GLP-1 receptor agonists safe for athletes to use for weight control?
Yes, so huge hype, huge popular internet is just going crazy with GLP-1 receptor agonists. And what are these? First, start with that one. These are medications that are often referred to by their brand names, like semaglutide, Ozempic, Wegovy, or tirzepatide, Mounjaro, Zebound. They were designed to treat type 2 diabetes and assist with weight management in obese population. But recently, they've started gaining popularity among athletes, especially those in weight class sports like wrestling, martial arts, rowing, or for aesthetic purposes driven by societal or personal pressures. I can also add some of the endurance athletes are also trying to lose weight, try through, for example, to weigh less on their joints. So they're also going back to these GLP-1 agonists. But then there is the big question, are these medications safe for athletes? To set the stage, we can start talking about why an athlete might consider these drugs. For one, weight class sports, they require athletes to hit specific weight requirements to compete. Others might feel pressure to maintain a certain look and body image. On the surface, these medications may seem like a quick fix, but they come with serious risks on health and the athletic career. While social media promotes these medications as miracle weight loss tools, athletes need to consider how they might affect performance, recovery, and health. And let's break this down as well. First, appetite suppression and muscle loss is the huge risk of GLP-1 agonists because they work by suppressing appetite, which can lead to undereating and calorie deficit. This may sound exciting for cutting weight, but it's not just fat that is being lost. Muscle mass can take a hit too. For athletes, that is critical. Without muscle, how do you produce power? Muscle isn't just for strength, it's essential for recovery, endurance, and overall performance. Then there is delayed gastric emptying, which means food takes longer to move through your stomach. There are risks of that, which can cause nausea, bloating, or constant feeling of fullness. Not exactly what you want during a high intensity workout or endurance event. Worse, it can reduce nutrient absorption, leaving athletes underfueled and under-recovered. I also read one study that the half-life of GLP-1 agonists are up to 5 days. So it's not just for one single event, but during your recovery phase, or if you're preparing for your next training or next competition, you will be still under the influence of this GLP-1 agonists to
Yeah.
your satiety, and it's quite risky. Then there is the hormonal imbalances as another big concern, especially for athletes with already low body fat. For female athletes, this can lead to issues like amenorrhea, like you said, is the fifth vital sign. We don't want to lose athletes. We don't want athletes to lose their period. And male athletes may face hypogonadism, it's low testosterone levels, and these changes can have a direct impact on performance and long-term health. And let's not forget the impact on bones and muscles. Inadequate nutrition and rapid weight loss can weaken your bones. It increases risk of fractures. You may face a stress fracture, for example, especially in high impact sports. This can also lead to more frequent injuries, something none of the athletes would want to deal with. As in all medicines, it's important to make a risk benefit assessment, and from the research, we can say that the risks are higher compared to benefits. So, we really recommend athletes not to turn into GLP 1 agonists other than its indicated,
Usage.
other than their usage. Jess, anything else you would like to add on GLP 1 agonists?
Yeah, I think the one question just for our athletes listening who are kind of on the anti-doping clean sport front is that GLP-1 agonists are not currently banned by WADA. Semaglutide I know is on WADA's monitoring program. I didn't see that tirzepatide was added this year, but I may have also not seen it. So this means that basically when you're on your monitoring program, that means that they're studying their use and if there's potential for these drugs to meet criteria for prohibited lists in the future. So basically, I think the bottom line is that medications are not a shortcut to peak performance, and they do include risk, muscle loss, nutrient deficiencies, long-term health consequences, which I think far outweigh the temporary benefits of weight control. And I think as top-level athletes, there's many different other ways to look, even though that social media is promoting these so heavily, and I'm sure it's really hard seeing all of it.
Yeah. And tirzepatide is not currently on the
Okay.
monitoring list, but it's like semaglutide. I guess it's closely monitored by WADA officials. And we have the next question: when to take medications, when to take supplements around games, practice, and travel. Usually, we see that athletes are not taking too much notice about the differences that may make to use the medications and supplements. So we see maybe they take all together at the same time or in an appropriate time that may affect the performance or the health. So timing is everything when it comes to athletic performance, and this includes when you take what into your body.
Yeah.
So Jess, would you like to answer this big question? It's a very
Yeah.
pharmacist question, so we love it.
Absolutely. So I think whether it's a daily medication, a pre-workout supplement, or something for recovery, knowing the right time to take it can make a huge difference. So let's dive into some tips and common scenarios to try and help you stay on top of your game. So let's start with the easy one, daily medications. If there's something you take like a blood pressure medicine, ADHD treatment, birth control, consistency is the key. But game days, travel, and time zones can throw off your routine. So if you're traveling, try and stick to your home time zone schedule for medications, especially if there's like a minimal time zone difference, such as 1 to 2 hours. For bigger shifts, I think you need to talk to your healthcare team or pharmacist, and they can help you adjust your schedule gradually so that you avoid missing doses or having side effects. Now, for supplements, timing kind of depends on the type. So pre-workouts, these should make sense. They have ingredients like caffeine, and they should be taken pre-workout, usually about 60 to 90 minutes before practice or competition, but not too close to your event because you risk jitters or upset stomach. And I'll go ahead and throw this in there is that you should also try something before you use it in competition to make sure you know how you're going to feel. Electrolytes and hydration supplements are best taken throughout the day and during games to maintain steady energy levels. Protein shakes and amino acids, these shine post workout for in the recovery window, so basically 30 minutes to 2 hours after an activity. So if you're crossing time zones, let me jump back to that for a second. If you're crossing time zones, make sure that supplements like melatonin, you can use supplements like melatonin to help with sleep. Those should be timed properly to kind of help you take them based off your destination's nighttime schedule, not your current one. So if this is new to you, definitely working with a sports pharmacist can help you with figuring out when should you be taking sleep supplements so that you're adjusted to the time zone. Neilham, are there any considerations you want to add before maybe like practice or game day?
Yes, during regular practices, timing still matters. For example, if you take something for allergies, it's best to take it an hour or two before outdoor workouts to keep symptoms at bay. About caffeine, don't overdo it during practice. If you have a game later that day, it could mess with your sleep or recovery, as we always say. And don't forget about recovery supplements like omega 3s, vitamin D, magnesium, our top supplements. They are best taken in the evening to align with your body's natural repair processes. Game days is a little different, especially if nerves are involved. For example, if you are taking medications for motion sickness or anxiety, timing can be crucial. Scopolamine patches, for example, should be applied about 4 hours before travel or competition to give them time to effect. And if you are taking anti-inflammatory medications like ibuprofen, timing is just as important. Make sure you take them with food to reduce stomach irritation and at least an hour before activity for maximum effect.
Yeah. I think let's talk about travel days next. So changing between time zones, long flights, and disrupted meal schedules, keeping your medications and supplement on tracks can be tough. So here are some extra tips. Pack them in your carry-on. You don't want your essentials to be in your checked luggage. This also includes like shoes and things you will need for performance or training. Set alarms. Use your phone to remind you when to take something, especially if your routine is out of whack. Stay hydrated. Travel dehydrates you, which can impact how medications are absorbed. So, making sure you stay hydrated with travel. For athletes who use injectables like insulin, be mindful of storage. Many medications need to be kept cool but not frozen. So, portable cooler packs can save the day. I think to sum it up, plan ahead. Whether it's regular practice day, game day, or travel day, taking time to think about how and when you're going to take your medications and supplements to keep you performing is going to be crucial. So don't hesitate to contact your sports pharmacist or healthcare provider if you're unsure about timing or specific needs. That's what we're here for, and we're happy to answer these questions. So, up next, kind of dealing with travel and flowing into the next question we get often is overall, how do you optimize sleep as an athlete? And I'm going to give a spoiler, it's not only about getting 8 hours of sleep.
Yes, well, sleep, we cannot not speak about sleep in one of the episodes. And we always get this question. I think it's like an epidemic
Yeah.
of lack of sleep or insomnia. So we wanted to help our athletes about these questions. Research constantly shows that sleep is essential for recovery, performance, and overall health. It's the best scientific tool for recovery. So, how you as an athlete can optimize your sleep to gain that competitive edge. Studies reveal that adults need around 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night, but athletes might require even more, up to 9-10 hours to support the recovery process. We understand with your busy schedule that may not be possible, but on the days that you can, it's to increase the sleep hours, as sleeping hours is really important. And how you can reach to these hours is through improving your sleep hygiene. And there is like a good checklist that
Yeah.
I can share with our athletes. So,
I was going to say, I
it,
think many people overlook the sleep hygiene. So I think
yeah.
taking a moment to really highlight through this, and people thinking, it might be simple, but these are very crucial steps. So why don't you fill us all in on sleep hygiene? Because it's so
Yes,
important.
it is very, very important, and these are very basic tips. So, at first, sticking to a sleeping schedule is important. What does it mean? It's to go to bed and waking up at the same time every day, even on weekends. Staying consistent will help regulate your circadian rhythm, and so that your sleep quality will improve. The second one is to create a sleep friendly environment so you can keep your room cool. This is 65 Fahrenheit or 18 degrees Celsius, and keep the room dark is very important also for, again, your circadian rhythm. And eliminating distractions like noise or light with blackout curtains, white noise machines, or just earplugs is a good choice, especially also if you're traveling and sleeping in unfamiliar places. And next one is really to watch your caffeine intake. Avoiding caffeine 6 8 hours before bedtime is useful. If you really love caffeine, we can recommend decaf options or matcha. And while caffeine can enhance performance, it can also disrupt sleep, leading to diminished recovery. And it is really important to take a closer look to your caffeine consumption, because it's not just coffee, but there are the energy drinks and there is the pre workout. So, usually, these all include caffeine, and it may affect some of the people up to 10 hours. So, sleep hygiene comes with being a considerate caffeine user. And another prioritization activities about sleep hygiene includes limiting screen time at least 1 hour before bed to reduce blue light exposure. I know this is tough, but it suppresses your melatonin production, so it really is stealing your sleeping quality of these devices. And then just 1 hour before bedtime, engaging in relaxing activities like stretching, meditation, reading, taking a warm shower are really good habits to take for good sleep. And the other thing is naps. And napping strategically is important because you recharge when you keep them under 30 minutes, and also avoid napping late in the afternoon. So if you have the time to, just 20 minutes nap in the middle of the day is really good for your performance and health. There are a lot of devices like sleep trackers or apps in your phone, so you can track your sleep duration and quality and which sleep stages you are in. And then with this information, you can look for trends and then make adjustments when you need to. And some additional thoughts I can share is also, if you include foods rich in tryptophan, magnesium, or melatonin, these are helping you going to a good night's sleep. These are turkey, almonds, tart cherries, which promotes better sleep. And also avoiding heavy metals and alcohol close to bedtime is very, very useful, so that you can again support your sleep quality and sleep hygiene. So our athletes, we really hope athletes tick off many on this sleep hygiene checklist, but we always get the question of supplements, because yes, when you apply good sleep hygiene habits, you can still be supported with supplements. So, Jess, what are your go-to supplements when you recommend to your athletes?
Yeah, so I'm going to run through some supplements, but they're in no particular order because it does depend on the athlete. I'm going to start with probably the most common one that people think about is going to be melatonin. So
Mm-hmm.
melatonin helps regulate the sleep-wake cycle by mimicking your body's natural sleep hormone. So your body naturally produces melatonin. And I would say this is best for athletes struggling with like jet lag, time zone travel, night shift schedules, or having delayed sleep onset. I definitely, with this one, recommend starting low and staying low, something like 1 to 3 milligrams at night. We kind of already touched on the second one, but magnesium. Obviously, we've talked about magnesium aiding in relaxation, reducing stress, but it also helps support deep sleep by regulating GABA. And GABA is like a calming neurotransmitter. I find magnesium really helpful for my athletes with like muscle tension and high stress. Again, magnesium hits so many things. It's one of my go-tos for a lot of stuff. L-theanine is another one that I really like. It's found in green tea, and it's an amino acid that helps promote relaxation without drowsiness by increasing alpha waves and GABA, again, calming neurotransmitter. I find this really helpful for athletes dealing with pre-performance anxiety or having difficulty shutting off their minds. The next one I'm going to add is ashwagandha. So we've talked about it before in one of our episodes, and definitely check it out. But we have ashwagandha, which is an wow, I'm having trouble speaking. Aptogenic herb that manages stress and helps lower cortisol, which can lead to improved sleep quality. So if you have high cortisol, you're not going to sleep as well as if your cortisol is within normal range. So this is best for athletes with chronic stress or high training loads. Two more that I want to kind of end on is going to be glycine. So glycine is an amino acid that improves sleep quality and lowers your body temperature to help prepare your body for sleep. Athletes looking for enhanced recovery or deeper sleep cycles are probably the ones that are going to benefit the most from glycine. And since this is a new one, I'm going to throw out the recommendation of usually about 3 grams 1 hour before bedtime. My last one is going to be tart cherry extract. Neil Hom talked about it just a minute ago about foods that are rich in melatonin. Well, tart cherries are naturally rich in melatonin and antioxidants, which promote sleep and reduces inflammation. This is really good for athletes with high inflammation or soreness impacting sleep. For dosage, usually 1 to 2 tablespoons of the concentrate or 200 to 480 milligrams in the capsule form. So I'm going to give you a little tip. This is what I do with a lot of my athletes, or some athletes that may need to wind down with a wine, or I do a lot of work with women, so perimenopause women. I'll have them combine like seltzer, tart cherry juice, and magnesium in like a little drink before bedtime, and it seems to do the trick for a lot. So that's one of my favorite recommendations for appropriate athletes.
Sounds
So
yummy.
yeah, try it tonight. Let me know.
Yeah.
Since we're on the topic of sleep, what another common question we get is, how much is too much caffeine? Is there even, though some people will probably find this like an audacity question to ask, can you get too much caffeine?
Yes, you can get, because the research has a recommendation for the amount of caffeine that you can take, and this is 3 to 6 milligram of caffeine per kilogram of your body weight. Because this is the effective dose for improving endurance, strength, and reaction time. So, for a 70 kilogram athlete, this equals to 210 to 420 milligram of caffeine. But also, consuming beyond 9 milligrams per kilogram of body weight offers no additional performance benefits, and it increases the risk of side effects.
Yeah.
For those in the US, the FDA states that 400 milligrams of caffeine per day is generally safe, but this is not the recommended daily intake. This is the maximum dose. And the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, allows caffeine, but it still monitors it closely about the performance and health effects of caffeine. It used to be banned, but not anymore. But also, I guess, in some federations in US, there is some sort of regulation for caffeine, so athletes should take a look at the federation rule. But this basically 400 milligrams or more than 9 milligrams per kilogram is may hinder performance about with the side effects. And of course, there is an individual tolerance to caffeine. If I take coffee, it's like 6:30 p.m. I probably have a long night without sleep. Some
Me
people
too.
just take a cup of coffee before bed and they sleep like a baby. So because there is genetic variation, there is the body weight and your training schedule, and also all the amount of caffeine you take from other products. It's good to take a good care of your caffeine consumption. Exceeding 600 milligrams daily may lead to symptoms of overconsumption, such as jitters, increased heart rate, and gastrointestinal discomfort. This may be risky to your heart health.
Yeah.
So, if you're not sure about these milligrams, here's a checklist for you to understand if you are consuming too much or if it's just right. If you feel restless or you have jitters, this may be the fact that you may be over consuming caffeine. Then, if you're having sleep disturbances, it's another sign. Even caffeine consumed 6 to 8 hours before bedtime can disrupt your sleep cycle. It impairs recovery. We just spoke about it. If you're having heart issues like rapid heartbeat, palpitations, especially during exercise, this is a sign for you to take a look at your caffeine consumption. Again, digestive problems may be caused by too much caffeine, especially if you're having upset stomach or acid reflux. And finally, dependency or withdrawal, needing caffeine to feel normal or just feeling energetic or experiencing headaches when skipping it is like a warning sign. If you can at all just take a look at you, a good look, in-depth look to your caffeine consumption, not just from coffee. For mass athletes, moderation is essential to reap the benefits of caffeine while minimizing risks. Always tailor your caffeine use to your body's needs and the timing of your events and your overall health. So, we are getting into our last question and the most important one from our perspective, just why athletes need a sports pharmacist on their team.
Yay, my favorite question. So let's break it down. As athletes, you're not just managing training schedules and competition, you're also navigating potential injuries, illnesses, supplements, anti-doping, clean sports, health conditions. There's so much. So having a sports pharmacist on your team can ensure that can basically support that any medication you use can comply with anti-doping regulations, won't or minimally impact your performance, and we can help with mitigation as to so that that is minimal, and we can tailor your tailor medications to your unique physiological needs. For example, we can recommend a safe alternative to over-the-counter medications or supplements that could be banned or cause unwanted side effects. I've had this happen with some athletes traveling internationally that got sick, so we were able to recommend some safe alternatives. As athletes, recovery is huge and it's key to staying in the competition. And sports pharmacists know how to use pharmacological tools and supplements to help support it. You need help with inflammation? A pharmacist can help guide you whether it's an NSAID or a natural option like omega 3s or Boswellia, or that's something better. If you're struggling with sleep, like we talked about, we can recommend safe alternatives that are effective and tailored to your training schedule and your body's needs. Nilham, what are your thoughts on teaming up with an athlete and a sports pharmacist?
Well, not all athletes are created equal. There are genetics, gender, even your sport can influence how you metabolize medications, supplements. So, as sports pharmacists, we can also provide specialized services like using pharmacogenomics to tailor treatments to your DNA, also nutrigenomics for tailoring supplements. We can advise on how hormonal cycles might impact medication or supplement effectiveness for female athletes, and we can ensure you use the right supplement to maximize performance and recovery without risk and also not spending a lot of money. So we also help with budget management.
Yes.
Clean sport, yeah, clean sport isn't just a goal, it's a necessity. So sports pharmacists can help you navigate anti-doping regulations like those from WADA. We can assist you with a TUE application if needed. We can also be advocates to ensure your products are safe, legal, and effective. A sports pharmacist does more than just managing medications and supplements. We can help building strategies for supporting your immune systems during high stress seasons. We can help recommending nutrition and supplements to reduce injury and illnesses through preventive approaches. We can provide expertise on managing common athlete conditions like asthma, gut health issues, or allergies. So, whether you're an elite competitor, a weekend warrior, or somewhere in between, having the sports pharmacist on your team can be a game changer. We bring unique skill set to your healthcare team. We help you optimize your performance. We help you stay healthy and compete with confidence. So we are good guidance and companion on your athletic journey.
Yeah. I think that's the perfect way to wrap up our
Yeah.
episode and season two. It's highlighting the need or why you should partner with a sports pharmacist or just why you might want to consider working with a sports pharmacist. We hope that these answers give you some fresh insight and practical tips that you can use right away in your training. So if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an update. And don't forget to share it with your fellow athletes who might benefit from similar questions. We'd also love to hear from you to offer you some of the most exciting lineup on season 3 that we're planning. So if you have more questions or topics you want us to cover in our next season, send us a message or drop us a comment on our Instagram account, because we want to make sure that our episodes are tailored for your needs.
Yes, it's off-season time for us, Jess. Finally, it's time for us to recover.
Recovery.
Yes, recovery time for us. We will be coming back stronger in 2025. And I just wanted to thank to our consistent fan base, which I had a chance to meet some of them in person during my graduation. It was just amazing. So we are grateful for your support. And also thanks to those new listeners who joined us in this season too. We are sports pharmacists. Our mission is to provide accurate and evidence based information to optimize your health and performance. When it comes to your health and well being choices, consult with your physician or pharmacist, prioritize your safety, and always make informed decisions through using our guidance in this podcast. Thank you for joining us today on the Performance Prescription Lab podcast. We look forward to sharing more valuable scientific and actionable insights in our next season. Until then, keep training smart, stay healthy, and we'll catch you next season for more expert advice and athletic insights. Thank you and see you next season.